back to JTAC Ranch's YouTube channel. Ben and Eric here today, and we're going to cover the 3 essential items you need to add to your AR-15. A lot of new AR-15 owners out there right now. The world's crazy. Everyone's buying up AR-15s. You see some wacky setups out there. Absolutely. And really, there's just some bare essentials you need, and then you should just focus on ammo and training. So Eric, what are those bare essentials? What's the first item? What's the most important thing you're going to add to your AR-15?
Your optic system, whether that's iron sights or a LVPO or a red dot.
Red dot, whatever your preference is, whatever your taste is, you have to have a sighting system. You can't just point shoot everything. This isn't Hollywood. This isn't the movies. A lot of different options out there, a lot of different price points. Good news is optics, quality optics have really come down in price over the years.
Absolutely.
You can still get some good stuff if you're on a budget. If you can't afford a optic, get iron sights. Work on those. You can still fine tune your fundamentals with iron sights. The point is you're gonna need a sighting system. That's the most important item for your AR-15.
One of those things to really consider with your iron sights or whatever optic you're gonna get, look for quality. And one thing that you can do to look for quality is actually see what's at your local range or your local gun shop and ask them their opinion. If they are worth their weight in salt, then they're gonna tell you, hey, try to go with something like Aimpoint or Trijicon or
EOTech, things like that.
Absolutely.
If you're on a budget, Primary Arms is turning out a lot of great stuff. HoloSun's putting out a lot of good stuff. The point is, there's a lot of options out there, and there's something for every budget and almost every preference for optics. So shop around, consult YouTube, consult people at your gun store, like Eric said.
Yeah.
Do a little bit of research. Number 2, and people might disagree with this a little bit, but I think a light is the second most important thing you can stick on a gun. A lot of dangerous encounters, home defense encounters, things you might use your rifle for happen at night. You can't hit what you can't see. And if you've never done a low light session, go do one if you get the opportunity, because you will see how important light is. You'll be craving light by the end of the training session, just because you want to take in more information, you want to take in more data. What do you think about lights, Eric?
I think lights are an imperative part of the AR-15 build. One of the things that you want to have with a light is make sure that you have a good amount of lumens, not too much. You don't have to go crazy with it, but make sure it's reliable. I want to make sure that that light turns on when I need it to turn on and turn off when I need it to go off. A good company to look at, Surefire. Streamlight is also another good company that's really economically priced. We have some other ones as well.
The new guys to the game are Modlight. They're cranking out a ton of lumens out of their stuff, a little bit more on the expensive side. Cloud Defense has a couple optics or a couple lights out right now. They make some bomb-proof stuff. A lot of options for lights. Second I would add about lights is make sure it's comfortable on the gun. Make sure you can get to it. If you're going to use a pressure pad, make sure the pressure pad works. It's in a good spot. If you're going to use a tail cap, make sure it's in an accessible spot. If you can't get to it, or you have to really compromise your grip, it's not conducive for making hits. You just want to be able to slightly change your grip a little bit and turn on that light to see what you need to see.
Absolutely. You want to make sure that your equipment is working for you, not you working against your equipment.
Yeah. And along those lines, make sure you're checking batteries. If you're using rechargeables, which a lot of people are these days, make sure you're swapping batteries out and keeping a good charge on those lights. Because again, you can't hit what you can't see. Third, and not exactly least, but it's out of the 3, this is probably the last thing I'd put on, and that's a sling. A sling is like a holster. This keeps the gun on your body. We saw the Kenosha Kyle guy, he was wearing a sling.
Absolutely.
That was the only thing that really kept that gun being ripped away from him. That AR ripped off his body was that he was wearing a sling. Know how to use your sling. There's a lot of technique to using it. It can be a great asset. It can also be a hindrance.
Absolutely. It can really work against you, and that's why it goes to training. Training with that sling, manipulating it, and making it work for you. It can easily work against you if you're not training with it proficiently. So make sure you're really training with that sling.
Yeah, and as far as preference goes on attaching it, 2-point, single point, 3-point slings aren't really around that much anymore. I like to run a 2-point because it's a little bit more stable. I can snug this down to my body so I can use my hands, I can climb stuff, I can run. 2 points a little bit better for me. Some guys still like to use single point because it's a little easier to manipulate. A lot of CQB guys are using single points. You got to find out what works for you. I would say make sure it's adjustable and make sure it's of good quality. And guys, after you have all 3 of those on your AR-15, don't go buy a grip pod. Don't go buy, a binary trigger or anything like that. Spend money on ammunition and training.
Absolutely.
Get better with your equipment before you're adding cappuccino makers and laser printers to the end of your AR-15. You see guys with so much stuff on their gun that you really just don't need or they're never going to use, and it just becomes a hindrance. Get good with the bare essentials, and if you really need something, cross that bridge when you get there.
Absolutely. And I think a good rule of thumb, if it just looks ridiculous, or you go on Amazon and you've got an optic with 50 quad rails all over it and lasers that are coming off the side, it's probably too good to be true. So stick with the basics.
Less is more. Yeah. Less is more. All right, guys, that's our top 3 items for an AR-15. We want to hear from you. Let us know if we missed anything, if you would put in a different item in our lineup, if you would add something, put it down in the comments. We want to talk with you about it. We really appreciate you guys watching these videos. It supports us. If you are interested in being a member out here at JTAC Ranch, which I know you are because this place is amazing, go to jtacranch.com, sign up for our newsletter. That's the best way to stay informed about what's going on up here. Membership, events, etc. Go to jtacranch.com.
If you want to stay informed about the YouTube channel as well, hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell to get updates on new videos that are dropping, as well as hit that like button for us. That really helps us out.
Guys, thanks for watching. I'm Ben. That's Eric. We'll see you out here at the ranch.